4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglash for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Well, I caused a little bit of a ruckus yesterday. I sent out my 4,000 mostly dead emails. About 1,700 of them are no longer working, but that's all I can do with my LinkedIn, my formerly working LinkedIn connections. So I'm sending out invitations to the webinar next week, Wednesday at noon Chicago time. I'm not sure how to hold a webinar, so I think I'm going to just do it on here. And I'm going to give you the link in Periscope. And Periscope, I can watch your comments, and that ought to do pretty nicely. And I know how to do it. So the heck with YouTube, the heck with Facebook. If you want to watch it on your phone, you can. If you want to watch it on your browser, you can. And I'll alert Twitter and LinkedIn and all the rest of the stuff I always do. Right? So you'll be all set. Okay, so let's head off into the sunset. And first off, I thought this was pretty good. These are new slogans for Aviation Gin. I don't personally drink gin, but we'll see what this looks like. It's supposed to be playing. What's wrong with the playing button? Come on, play button. What happened here? Honest, I'm hitting the play button. You can't see it, but I am. Okay, I'll hit the refresh button. Oh, now it has to refresh. So we'll go out to 29 and play it. Okay, I think it's... Uh-oh. It's like this show. Okay, I really want to get to that. You can sew that up in post. Because we did Tom Fishburne's thing about how we can sew up all the marketing in post. Yeah, okay, not really. Anyway, let's do some serious work today. Do we need a third way to set marketing budgets? This is Mark Ritson. I think Mark is about the smartest guy I ever read. And he is talking about Kraft Heinz. And the share price just fell by a third. And it's a mess. And a lot of it is because it was he says, it was acquired by a company like 3G, which buys a business brand and then cuts lots of stuff, slashes everything, and coasts along on the fumes of former marketing investments. And I had put in here, I helped Deluxe Check buy Paper Direct in kind of a funny backward way. Anyway, and I did it with our budget model that I'd built way back then that Deluxe had implemented across a lot of their marketing. And it was a big enough spreadsheet that in those days, hard drives were limited and it took up most of their stuff. They said, "Can we make the spreadsheet smaller? Would that be okay?" And of course I said, "Sure, that's easy." Anyway, so the accountants looked at my stuff, and I had each, in those days we were mailing, so I had each drop going out, each drop, and the drops overlay each other. And they said, "Well, since we've mailed so many pieces in the spring, can we just stop in the fall?" I said, "Yes, you can, but this tail effect, which is there and real, and you have to have it in place in marketing projections, is very, very elusive. And if you just stop, you're going to die. You're going to kill the company." And so a couple of years later, I got a call from a big blue insurance company, and the Blue Crosses, and I was like, where did this come from? And so a friend of mine was talking about this guy in Milwaukee, and somebody in the room said, "Who was it?" And they said, and she said, "He saved Paper Direct." And she explained what they were going to do by essentially zero-based budgeting and the carryover fumes. I I had a model that actually took into account the fumes, but you'll kill the company. So Mark is not an advocate of zero-based budgeting per se, but it's the best part of a private equity toolkit from the very beginning. And so basically you have to defend every cent. And the problem you have is that you've got some long-term spending and that maximizes customer value, that takes the customers you have and keeps them active. You know, most car commercials, I did some work for General Motors and for Chrysler. And Chrysler had this club for minivan owners, and they stopped they mailed you every month for the first 3 years, and the average trade-in was about 3 years. So they stopped right at the time when you were going to trade in. But it was supposed to build long-term value. I didn't think it really did. Most of direct marketing is based on selling something, so that's short-term. So how did we connect the short and the long? Because you need both, is what Mark says, and I think he's absolutely right on par. I actually have a spreadsheet, and it's part of my Reigniter. It's part of my Reigniter course. And he says, start with a unified plan, and that's what we do. We get it all down, and we look at actually your return on investment in 1, 3, and 5 year windows on your acquisition, on your new customers. What has it been historically? And we can see your spending, and we can see how that drives incremental sales while oftentimes eroding profit. So we can see that we model that through time back 5 years rather than a lifetime value, which is just not dynamic. And then what we can do is optimize for maximum growth and profit in both allocating money to the existing customers and also continuing to do customer acquisition. Because oftentimes, and I saw this in Dress Barn, I worked for Dress Barn, and they acquired a couple of catalog titles, and in that story, and I had to do depositions and stuff for that. In that story, the cataloger stopped doing prospect marketing, stopped acquiring customers, and therefore boosted profits. Got it? And so inflated the multiplier that they sold by, because the profits looked like they were increasing, but they were increasing by eating their seed corn. And so Mark, I have an idea for you that we could work together on. To master two-speed brand does not require a form of schizophrenia. You just have to think about acquisition and customer value together. And you can optimize it. And I have a spreadsheet that 1 page, you can figure it out. And it's really good with projections too, which I know you make a good point that it's a joke. Okay, Stephen Yu, one of my favorite guys who did an interview with me. He said he gets called in when things don't work out as planned. Oh, brother, is that ever true? And, you know, they want to do a data lake or a digital transformation or marketing automation or whatever. And these are not things that are simple or something you can just buy off the shelf with a few buttons. Well, that's what the webinar is about. We're going to actually offer you a way to buy it off the shelf. Now, it doesn't apply to everybody, right? I don't know how I would save Gillette, or, you know, a lot of manufacturers don't know who the customers are. But if you have about 100,000 or more active customers, 0 to 12-month buyers, we can make this work. We can get to a test. We can get to ROI. We have a clear blueprint. We know exactly what we're after, and we can guarantee ROI within 90 days. Sometimes we have to wait longer for the results to come in. But we can set it all up, then we pause after 90 days. 2 months to build the database and 2 months to build the rest. No predetermined metrics. We tell you what the metrics are. We explicitly spell it out. In here, he says, a predictive model, no matter how well it's constructed, cannot single-handedly overcome bad marketing. Yeah, well, there's a long-term plan for that, where we use direct marketing techniques to improve your offer and your segmentation. Those are the two main things, right? Everybody loves digital because it gets to you when you're making a decision. So write me, or better yet, have your chief financial officer contact me, because marketing people aren't disciplined enough. Okay, so he says you got to have the right metrics because maybe your predictive model is designed to drive response rate. Bad model. We run it on net profit, EBITDA, per customer, per piece. See, I can help you with all of these things. Steven, we should be working together. Should send them to me first. We'll do this test. We'll show the value of predictive modeling. If your boss says we want to boost acquisition and customer value and loyalty, you should quit, he says. Well, it is possible. But again, that previous spreadsheet I was talking about is kind of the way to do it. And I really agree with this. I haven't encountered any gut feeling, including my own, that stood the test of time better than data-based decision making. I have been proven wrong. I have proven myself wrong so many times that I'm getting good at being wrong. And that is how you learn and grow. Okay, and so we cut through all of this stuff, and don't spend all your money on the wrong things, but get it started simple. Get it started in a way that's actionable, that shows the ROI, that shows the improvement, and then we'll go on from there. Marketing automation or any other related product is not something that one or two zealots in an organization can achieve single-handedly. Yes, you can. I can tell you exactly how to do it. So, on that note, we'll put this up over my thing. AI ROI, 90 days guaranteed. Yeah, there's some limits to that. I'm not going to just take on any client there is. If you've never been in the mail, we can help you with that. We use mail. You can tune into this webinar Wednesday at noon, same place, Wednesday at noon, and we're going to give you a much more complete story. I'm John Miglosh. Like and share. Your